one of the things I talk about a lot on my show that's kind of part of the mission of this show is municipal broadband and city-owned internet, which is basically just another way of saying municipal broadband. And this is an important issue to me because it's around the free and open internet, which without a free and open internet, shows like this would not exist. It'd be horrible for the idea of media democracy. And the internet is a utility in our lives that we rely on. The pandemic is making that abundantly clear. And there's some places in the country that already have great city-owned internet. And here's the thing, some places don't. And now with the pandemic, we're really seeing what happens. I covered a story in Philadelphia where Comcast in this part of Philadelphia has a monopoly over internet access in this place. And now kids are going to school online because like a lot of the schools aren't opening yet. And some places, some residences, they don't have internet access. They just don't have access to decent internet, or they can't afford it. And they need to go to these hotspots so that their kids can learn. Well, Comcast is just deciding not to have these hotspots because they can do that. And they just decide if we don't make the profit margins we want to see, we're just not going to build somewhere. We don't give a hoot about a community. So here you have Comcast getting to decide whether our children learn or not. Comcast, this big for-profit entity. Well, here's why this is a piece of good news. One of the biggest municipal broadband success stories is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Here's what they're doing in Chattanooga right now. Chattanooga uses municipal broadband to connect students in a historic announcement. Yesterday, an announcement via a live stream, which, by the way, that live stream loaded great for everybody because in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they have some of the best internet in the world at a price that is less than what most people pay for their cable. Why do they have that? Because they've had city-owned internet for years and years because of an electrical grid, and they have one of the biggest success stories for city-owned internet in the country. Anyway, all right, so in a live stream, the city of Chattanooga, Hamilton County Schools, and the fiber arm of the Municipal Utility Electric Power Board, that's the grid we're talking about, announced a partnership to provide free internet access and hardware to the 17,700 homes with school children on free or reduced lunch programs in the county. It's called HCS Ed Connect. So that's what happens when you have city-owned internet. And hey, Chattanooga is actually a really cool town. I don't know if you've ever been there. It is a really super cool town. But it's not like Chattanooga, Tennessee is some bastion of progressivism. You know, I mean, but here they are. They're connecting students. They're connecting children. They're not leaving anyone out of the digital divide because they have city-owned internet and because they know that this is a utility in people's lives and they're treating it as such. Imagine if we treated other utilities the way we treat the internet. Hey, Comcast gets to decide who does and doesn't have garbage pickup. Comcast, if they decide there's not enough money and then picking up your garbage, you just don't get garbage pickup. That sucks.
Sorry, it's too hard to pump water to where you're at. So.
Right. Yeah.
Better set up some rain dishes, I guess. Right.
And that's a prominent example because around the country, people are trying to privatize their water supply.
Yeah.
And you know, you see what happens when that happens, i.e. Flint, Michigan. You know, they got that private contract. Flint hasn't had clean water in years as a result. They still don't. And it's a good thing we have these awesome corporate media outlets that talk about that every day.
Yeah,
every day they have that ticker that says, hey, Flint doesn't have clean water. We got to do something. Every day they have that. It's
like, what about that glass that Obama drank, you know?
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah,
everything's cool. He drank the water.
He drank
the water. Yeah.
It was like one of those like droplet beaker things that you get in like high school chemistry. Like, oh yeah, it's good. It's great. Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
It just turns around, just spits it out immediately.
See ya. So anyway, what's happening in Chattanooga? That's what happens when you have city-owned internet. When you have city-owned internet, you can build hotspots and you can get internet directly to people's homes when they need it for school. When you don't have city-owned internet, Comcast gets to decide whether your children learn or not.
And that example with the hotspots is a great example of exactly what will happen if the post office is gone too. right?
Yes.
Where Amazon or FedEx or UPS decide it's not cost effective. Good luck getting a money order, sending a package, running a business.
Absolutely. You know what? Somebody suggested this to me after a show, and I think it might have actually been in San Francisco. No. It was in I think it was in San Jose. But they were like, what if, because they know, like, I'm really big on municipal broadband. And they were like, what if we did all of like the municipal broadband hotspots for different cities? What if we built them all at post offices?
That is a good idea.
Right? Like, I was like, dude, that's an amazing idea. And I feel like
make them hotspots, make them ISPs and banks. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, get a public bank.
Yeah.
Get public banks, make those hotspots, make the post offices hotspots, and make the libraries hotspots, and then get the web to the point where it can also go into people's homes.
Yeah, I mean, so I used to live in Walnut Creek, and they've got some citywide wireless internet, and it's like really bad, but at least it exists. But that's like a pretty wealthy area, so like I think their concern was pretty small. But I mean, the amount of the Bay Area is unique. We have pretty good internet here. But I mean, I've lived in parts of the country where the internet's terrible. Like I grew up in Utah for a lot of my life, and the internet was not great there until pretty recently because a lot of tech firms left California. Costs were too high. So it's just like the opportunities that you get education wise, just based off of the infrastructure, just noticeable. So I went to a decent school, but just the internet wasn't great until that school was built. And the value of the community was raised, right? Like it's either going to come based off of profit margins or based off of the government doing it. And I don't think we should wait for profit to be the motive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting though, when you look at it from an economic standpoint, like you said, it raises the value of a community. And that's why, like, for municipal broadband,
fiber into the neighborhood when the high school was built. Like
oh yeah. So that's huge. And that's one of those things. Like, that's why municipal broadband is not really, like, you see people all across the political aisles that are in support of it, because it's like, if you want to look at it from the capitalist economic point of view, you should still be for it, because a free market supposedly likes competition. So why wouldn't you want competition to these big cable companies to make them, quote unquote, make a better product, which they're not going to do. They're just going to try to stop the municipal broadband from happening. That's what we've seen time and time again.
We gave them billions already to try and do it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. and yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they did. They ran off with it. And every community that gets it, it just raises the value of their community. Chattanooga bills themselves as Gig City USA now. And now when, we're already amidst a digital landscape because of stuff like the pandemic, that's going to amplify times 10. And now, that's going to increase things in Chattanooga. I mean, more people are going to be going there. It's just going to happen. And then there's parts of North Dakota that have it. I mean, basically anywhere that has a successful municipal broadband project, more people are going to go there.
Yeah.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news